This week's video is a full house declutter and clean with me to hopefully work as a body double for you. Take this as my invitation to go tackle something together for the length of this video, so you can hopefully get something done too. Maybe you have a huge pile of dishes that has been stressing you out and that you can do alongside with me, or a junk drawer you've been dreading for a while now. Of course, you can also just relax and watch me tidy and clean all of this up, whichever works for you. And know that this video will also be a bit different in another department, as I'm going to ask you questions to consider while either watching this video or working along with me. Let's go. Now, if you don't know me or my channel and haven't seen any of my other videos yet, here's a small disclaimer. Keep in mind that I'm an autistic woman with a batch of ADHD that's trying to claw her way out of a depression. That means some things have been a while, and there's some build-up fur here and there. I know it's considered gross by many, but it is what it is, and unfortunately, this is what a lot of people live with. If you mind, then I guess you should just be happy you didn't see my home at its worst as a full-blown hoarder. In the beginning of this video, I talked about body doubling. If you don't know what that is yet, body doubling can help you start new projects and hopefully even finish them. A lot of us neurodivergent people have issues in the executive functioning part of the brain, causing us to be unable to get up at times and to motivate ourselves. Having someone else work alongside with you, either physically or virtually, can boost productivity and help you to actually get up and do things. For me, for example, filming this and hoping it might help someone works kind of the same way. And maybe this video will do so for you too. If you've seen earlier videos, you probably already know I'm quite honest about my situation and show things even when they're extremely cluttered or dirty. To continue doing so, let me tell you that my home hasn't been completely clean in, honestly, maybe ever. I usually start somewhere and I'm then unable to finish. When I do want to finish, time has passed and the stuff I cleaned earlier already needs cleaning again. Or in the past, it happened a lot that new stuff had accumulated again. And maybe even multiplied several times by themselves, it seemed. It's getting easier and easier to get it done now that I already decluttered so much. As you might have seen on a community tab of my YouTube channel, I created a poll on how this video should be set up. Either with an introduction, then just cleaning and tidying sounds for the rest of it, to then finish up with saying goodbyes. Or with it needing more sound and thus more talking. As some of you already know, I don't do music in my videos. The poll ended up with more people thinking it should need more sound and thus more talking. But there were also a lot of you that would be happy with the first option of just cleaning sounds, also known as ASMR. Now, as I was wondering what on earth I'd be talking about for an hour straight, one of you gave me the idea to ask you questions in between for you to contemplate. I thought it was a genius idea, so thank you again, and hopefully this is what you meant for it to be like. I also thought it would be a perfect way to make this video both chatty and ASMR-like at the same time. So here and there, I'll ask you a question and be quiet for a bit, so that you can answer the question in your mind or maybe even write it down for you to get back to later. During those times, I'll make the cleaning sounds a bit louder, both so that those sounds will level the usual sound of my voice, and so that you'll still know I'm right there with you. I'd like to invite you to join me in decluttering and cleaning my home for the next hour and answer those questions as you go. If you're not comfortable working along with me right now, then please feel free to grab a pen and paper and write your answers down as we go, while you're just watching along, which again is perfectly okay. Another little disclaimer, please remember I'm not a therapist of any kind, but I can share my own story and what kind of questions helped me on my journey towards a decluttered and cleaner home. If you're planning on decluttering along with me, then consider taking before pictures. Not to share with anyone, but just for yourself. I often feel like I didn't accomplish anything, even if I'd been at something for hours. Having before pictures and then taking pictures from the exact same spot, or almost exactly, when I finished, somehow shows me more than if I just look at it in real life. As we go along, we tend to forget what we've already accomplished, and this helps with that. Also, I've said this in earlier videos, but if you haven't seen those or need a reminder, please always keep in mind that you usually don't know what's going on behind the scenes when you watch videos on social media. In this case, every room was done in different weeks, every cabinet on different days. And like with the bathroom, it took several days and lots of breaks in between. So please don't see this video as something you should be able to tackle within a short time frame, because pushing your boundaries will only make things worse. I know, I decided to try it out. Several times, I must add. And even though there seems to be a lot of people out there that tell you to push those boundaries so that you'll end up with a new baseline each and every time, I think that I don't swear, so I'm trying to come up with a decent word, but that's just no. Again, I'm not a therapist or some other kind of healthcare worker, but common sense and my experience tell me you'll end up making it worse for yourself. Maybe it works for neurotypical people, I don't know. But I just don't believe you can change your whole brain chemistry of, for example, autism or ADHD in a way where you'll end up with this amazing new boundary baseline, if that makes sense. I'm afraid we'll truly ruin ourselves before that happens. Now, I'm not saying we can't grow and make it better. Please know that. I mean, I believe I already made certain things a lot better for myself, and thus I do truly believe with all my heart that it is possible to grow and make things better for you. That's not what I'm referring to. I am referring to constantly pushing your limits because others have you believe that certain things are what you should be able to do, when you know you can't because of executive dysfunctioning or other reasons. There's more than one reason I decided to post this video now. I needed a break to be able to just combine my older videos and write, record, and edit this voiceover this week instead of tackling something else in my home. So just pick a task and go from there and listen to your body and mind. Now I think that's a nice segue to the first thing I'd like you to ask yourself. How often do you cross your boundaries, energy-wise? How often do you feel you have to do something, have to finish it, because that's supposedly the way to do it? Now, I'm not aiming at things that are really necessary for whatever reason. I'm aiming at those moments where you feel like you have to be perfect, where less would have sufficed too. Those moments where you feel like you have to, because whoever made you think that's the way you should be doing it and anything less than that is bad. Try and think about it for a bit as I'm here decluttering and cleaning in the background. And maybe keep in mind how I said in earlier videos that you have to make things work for you, not for anyone with a higher energy level or a different neurotype. How often do you cross those boundaries? If you've seen my previous videos, you can see that I've done a lot in the last 2.5 months. Wow, by the way, my channel is already a little over 2 months old when I air this video. Yay for time blindness, as I didn't really realize that. I wanted to talk a bit about what that has done for me, and again to be open about what goes on behind the scenes, to hopefully make you realize that videos always make it look way easier than it actually was. I think it's like that most of the time, but I know it certainly was that way for me. The thing is, I've been in the middle of a depression, then the diagnostic process for a lot of things, both developmental disorders such as autism and ADHD, as well as personality disorders such as borderline and obsessive-compulsive personality disorder. Not to be confused with the similarly named OCD, by the way, as far as that even matters. I ended up with getting diagnosed as, the way I like to call it, autism with a dash of ADHD. Meaning I'm officially diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and have several characteristics of ADHD, but not enough to also get diagnosed with ADHD. And no personality disorder, as what made them lean towards certain personality disorders turned out to actually be caused by my autism. So what have decluttering and cleaning done for me since then? First of all, I strongly felt that the mess in my home caused a lot of my autism and ADHD characteristics to intensify. Turns out, that's actually an official theory in psychology. So I'm trying to work on whatever is intensifying those characteristics one by one. And wouldn't you know it, the more I decluttered, the calmer my mind started to become. Now I have several sensory processing issues. I am oversensitive to all of the senses, but undersensitive to, for example, boundaries. It causes me to often do way more than I should and then crash. So even though I did a lot in the last 2.5 months that I all showed in my videos, I think it's important for you to realize that it came with a lot of crashing. Despite that, I do notice I feel way calmer now that I've done all this. With the extra space in my home came extra space in my mind, it seems. But it also made me learn a lot. For example, how more physical space indeed creates more space in my mind. But also how I need to find a way to recognize when I'm pushing my boundaries. Or preferably before I get to the pushing and then crashing part. So the reason I'm sharing all this is to hopefully make you think even further on not only those boundaries, but what you are working towards. As specifically as possible, what are you working towards? What do you want your home to be like? What feeling do you want to get when you think about your home? The thing is, thinking this through, really through, helps with staying motivated to declutter, organize, and clean your home. Because then you'll know exactly what you're doing this all for. And in my experience, it'll be way easier to then break everything down into steps to be able to reach set feelings related to thinking about your home. So what is it for you? What do you want to work towards? Try and make this solely about your home for now, to prevent the overwhelm of thinking about every aspect of your life. I have to say, writing this down created a huge shift in me, and I hope it will for you too, as you can come back to it every time you need a new rush of motivation. I'll share what I wrote down 2 years ago in the next video, should you be curious. I'll again leave you with your thoughts for a bit now, so you can think this through. Oh, so you can think this through. So behind the scenes, I'm just adding this to the video so you know how it goes for me sometimes pronouncing all this English. Let's try that again. I'll again leave you with your thoughts for a bit now, so you can think this through. Anyway, you know what I mean. I hope. If you find it difficult to come up with something, then maybe think about me and how you think it would have made you feel had you decluttered all this in your own home. Does that help? Now let's go a little bit deeper into the motivation part. There are different ways to get motivated. However, I think that it's discussed way too little how getting motivated differs a lot for people, especially when you're neurodivergent in a way that you have lower levels of dopamine, as I do. Now, if you already know me a bit, then you probably already know I'm about to say something a lot different than what you've probably heard so far. Because instead of telling you which awesome ways exist for you to get motivated, like I feel a lot of other videos do, I'm going to ask you to think about it for yourself. What motivates you? Try and think about the times you got motivated to do something. I've already gotten several comments on my videos saying my videos motivated them to declutter something, which is so awesome, by the way, and I'm so happy it did. Is that maybe indeed what motivates you? And what is it in my videos that motivates you so much? Or does it maybe get you motivated to read books about decluttering? Or reading about your neurodivergency so that you're able to understand yourself better and that way learn to shift perspective? Think about what motivates you and try to be as detailed as possible. Because when you know what motivates you, I think next time you're demotivated, you'll know to do either of those things. And remember that it isn't something that has to make it all work every single time. Sometimes your executive dysfunction just messes with you so bad that you just can't get up, for example, or your energy levels are just too low. That doesn't mean it's all hopeless now and you need to find something else. Instead, I believe it comes back to the boundary thing again, because next time it will motivate you again. So think about it. What is it for you? What motivates you? The other day, I read something that was kind of mind-blowing to me, really. I'm not quite sure anymore if it was in a Facebook group that someone shared their viewpoint or if it was more like a meme, but I thought about it and then made my own thing around it. Basically, maybe you are the same, but I read how a lot of people hate doing laundry, or at least strongly dislike it, and even though you might have seen my pretty nicely smelling laundry detergent, hanging the laundry is still a problem for me. I don't have a dryer, so I have to not only remember to take my laundry out of the washer, but to also hang it dry. And what I read was something along the lines of being grateful for having clothes to have to laundry and hang to dry. People that don't have any clothes to begin with don't have laundry. We have laundry because we are lucky enough to have clothes. And I thought that was a really beautiful way of looking at it. I think it's what I often say about shifting perspective. So I try to shift my perspective to, wow, I have clothes to hang because I have clothes. I'd rather have clothes that I then have to wash and hang than not having those clothes at all. And even though I could still be like, yeah, but I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to have to wash them and then hang them. For me, shifting our perspective to I have clothes to begin with made a huge change for me. I actually wrote this part down as I just hung up my laundry because now it's still fresh. Both the laundry, but I mean my thoughts. No pun intended. It was a nice pun though. Okay, so now I'm laughing at myself. But yeah, so I'd like to ask you to think about this for a bit as I'll stay quiet and just let you ponder for a bit how you think about that. How do you feel about laundry? About having to do it? About having to hang your clothes to dry or put them in a dryer or folding? Or just think about what kind of feeling it gives you and then consider what I just said. And if that might be a way for you to shift perspective so as to make things easier for you from now on. I believe that when we're decluttering or cleaning, that we are actively working on creating a better life for ourselves. Because bit by bit, step by step, it gets better. Is that a feeling or a viewpoint you share? Have you ever thought about it that way at all? What do you notice when you're decluttering? Does it spark joy knowing that you're working on making your life better? Now don't get spooked, I'm back for a few words. Fun fact, I once was body doubling on the phone with a friend and she had to mute herself real quick. I was super focused on something and while she was muted, I completely forgot she was there. So when she started talking again, I actually jumped up. So that's why I started talking a bit softer to hopefully not make you jump as well. Anyway, if you indeed use this video as a body double, then I hope you got lots done. If not, then that's of course also perfectly fine, and I hope it gave you the same sense of calm watching cleaning videos gives me. And of course, I hope my questions to you made you think about things in a different way, made you consider other perspectives. Either way, please share in the comments if this video helped you somehow. Maybe even use the comment section to write down your progress if you feel comfortable doing so and might motivate you even further. And feel free to get back to this video anytime you either need some motivation to tackle something, need to reconsider my messages and questions in this video, or need some calming down. I truly hope this video helped you in one way or another and hope you'll have a lovely rest of your day. Bye!